Good evening, and welcome to Flat Earth Trolls and Other Faceless Potatoes with Nathan Oakley and Amir from Insanity is Sanity. Welcome. How you doing, Amir?
I'm good, Nathan. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic, mate.
It's good to chat to you again after it's been a couple of months, I think, since we last spoke, isn't it?
Well,
Online.
As I
like
said before
this.
we went out, mate, you're the man of the moment at the moment. It's Detective Inspector Amir
No, man,
sleeping.
no. It's all you. I think it's all you. I think you're doing I think what you're doing needed to be done. That's why I was quick to jump on with you, man. I think what you're doing is great.
I'm just fanning the flames. That's all I'm doing. I mean, you've got Jeff, who's done his digital detective work, and how much credibility we want to lend to what he's found is entirely up to the people who view it. And then we've got John Le Bon, who's done his own little bit of detective work and has exposed it in response to Jeff's information. It's become a bit of a debate, an easily solved one at that.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it needs to be solved. It's been going on for a while, and it's getting a bit silly, to be honest. It's unnecessary drama.
Or
What he's
necessary
doing.
drama.
No, what Tim Osman's doing.
I mean, the drama that's happening right here, right now, is there's a debate about who this guy is. He's exposing people left and right.
Sorry, you're gone.
I was going to say he's exposing people left and right. He's exposed you, has he not?
Yeah, he did. I mean, I don't really care much for him, to be honest. But what I think what he's doing is one, it's dangerous. Could be dangerous for some people. I mean, revealing someone's private address is not it's not a joke. As you study psychopaths. I mean, what if there's a psychopath out there who wants to hurt Patricia, for example? Revealing an address is not the best thing that you can do. But like I said when we were speaking offline, man, I think we need to get to the bottom of this. And what John Le Bon put out today earlier after your video, I think that was a good big clue. I think it was good lead, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And if there wasn't any controversy about this subject, if somebody hadn't come out and said, well, it's this guy, maybe John Le Bon wouldn't have come out and said, well, actually, no, it's this guy.
Exactly.
You just don't know.
Yeah, so what do you think's going on? He's been quite quiet, hasn't he? Tim himself.
It seemed to coincide. Yeah, you had Jeff's first video came out and it was almost instantaneous. There was no thumbs down on any live feeds.
Yeah. Well, how did you meet Jeff? Because I haven't, to be honest, I haven't been online for a while because I'm moving, but so I'm not really up to date with what's happened. How did you meet him?
Well, he sent me an email, or not an email, a YouTube message, and I'm sure you're exactly the same. You get dozens and dozens of them, and lots of people are like, oh, do you want to hang out sometime? And Jeff was a bit like that, and I was like, I'm really sorry, I don't know who you are. And he kind of bit my head off. He was like, you don't know who I am? Don't get me wrong, it was obviously in text. So, but yeah, he was like, and I was like, I'm really sorry. I don't know who everybody is. You don't know what you don't know. Just tell me who you are. And if you're, the most important person in the world, I'll be, cap in hand and apologize for not knowing who you are. And he was like, as you are, sir, it doesn't matter. It's not important. I was like, no, just don't be coy. Just tell me who you are. So it's like, he talked, I can't remember how that conversation ended. But from there, I presume I looked at some of his videos, and then he started up at FETV, which is, it was portrayed as being like a constant 24-hour flat Earth television show. The reality is it's based on Google Hangouts, and you've got to actually monitor this thing. You can't just leave it running, and have people duck in and out. It's got to have somebody actually run the thing. Now, whether or not it continues and is a success, I don't know. But on the first couple of shows, lots of people were enthusiastic. Robin Poe was on there, and lots of people got involved. And it was good to chat to all these people. I chatted for quite some time with GeoShifter, who I'd never spoken to before, and it was great. But yeah, I mean, I was keen to chat to Jeff in one form or another about the video that he did, because it was like a lot of things, a little bit not wishy-washy, but vague. He was saying, here's the information I found, and I wanted to kind of tie him down and get him to say what he actually found or what he believed he'd found. And yeah, that's as much as the interaction I've had with Jeff. I believe he's either chatted with Patricia Steer on a hangout at some stage. You know, talked over her and was quite rude to her. But you know, that's Jeff. You know, his heart's in the right place. His intentions are hopefully sound. He seems like, you know, some people may not like his methods. Definitely not. I think from John Le Bon's video, we can only take the inference that he doesn't like his methods.
Yeah, I agree. But to be honest, in my view, what needs to be done needs to be done. I mean, Tim Osman's doing a lot worse than what Jeff did. I'm not saying breaking the laws right, but I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get what you need. I think his detective work was quite impressive, actually. The way he went about it.
I
if
think
the information is correct, but doesn't seem
well,
to match with
precisely
John's
if
giving.
it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the piece of software that he used to match up the voices, and you know, if it's being used for front door identity, it's presumably its reputation hangs on it if it's a security piece of software. But I don't know anything about it. You know, at face value, and under interview, he was prepared to say, "This is that guy," and you think, well, great, I'll roll with that. If it gets the conversation started, more power to you, mate. If you think it's him. You know, you've presumably seen his video with the dancing Adam Moyle, wherever his name is. Presumably you've seen that, yeah?
Yeah. But I think what he did, whatever it was, and with your video, it got the ball rolling, didn't it? With John coming out with the new information. I was so happy to see that video that John put out.
Me too. I was jumping for joy.
I've always wanted to see what he'd look like, and I was like, wow, thanks, John.
Yeah, me too. I was like, oh, wicked. But better still, now there's a debate. It's like, wow, how can we solve this debate? Who is Tim Osman? Well, he's got a YouTube channel with a camera. No problem. And he's got a real name. Oh, well, all he needs to do is turn on a YouTube hangout, press on the camera and say, hi, my name is. Problem solved. Debate over.
Yeah, but he does seem quite... he does hide his identity. He seems quite that seems like an important thing to him, to not show his face and his real
shame.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think the purpose is behind what he's doing? Because if we break down what he's actually doing, it takes a lot of time and dedication. I mean, I wouldn't spend 5 minutes trolling something that I didn't agree with, but he seems to be spending his life doing that, really, isn't he?
I can relate. I've had my moments doing that. I can easily relate to that. I mean, but you know, there's a troll deep down inside me somewhere, and I happily, you know, troll people. Why not? You know, it feels
to that extent, though.
In the day. Say again.
I said to the extent that Tim's been doing it. I don't think you would go that far. Start releasing addresses and.
Depends how high his passion levels are. I mean, if you take it at face value, he's a very passionate guy, and I can relate to that, you know.
Passionate about what?
Passionate about being anti-flat Earth.
Yeah, I guess I can give him that.
You know, for every coin, there's going to be an opposite side to it, and you know, maybe he's the yang to a lot of people's yin.
Maybe.
But who knows? All I know is that there's now a debate going on about who the hell this guy is, and the question's always been there, but now there's two different camps that say he is either this guy or he is this guy.
Would you have him on your show?
Tim Osman?
Yeah.
Well, I was this close to asking. In fact, I'm sure in one of the comments I was like saying, do you want to come on? And it was literally just before I did the interview with Mark Sargent. And I caught his video that he did covertly, and in a way, I was like, "Good on you, mate. You know, you've actually had the tenacity to do this." But then I listened to the full interview, and you know, he sounded a bit scared. There was a crack in his voice that sort of, you know, made him sound. You know, I felt a bit sorry for him in places, but he also did all the usual stuff. He talked over Mark and didn't listen to his points or address any of the issues. I think when he was talking about Sean, is it Sean? I keep forgetting what his name is. The
Navy guy.
You've got it. When he was talking about Sean, his response, or Tim Osman's response, was to say, well, one dude. It's like, oh, what? How can you just like completely
Yeah.
over what that guy has said.
Yeah. No, I mean that. To be honest, that little video he made, he labeled it interview, but it wasn't an interview. Really was. I mean, he caught Mark off guard. You could tell he wasn't expecting the call. And it was very like in your face. It was quite rude the way he was speaking at some parts. I found a bit rude, but I don't think that was an interview. That was more of an attack. In my view.
But that's how it often comes off. I mean, the same thing happened on Red Rhetoric versus Jeranism.
Yeah.
It just turns into them shouting down the opinions and views. I mean, I'm definitely on the hunt for the right globe head for the show because I invested a lot of time and effort into the heliocentric model. I was a proper fan of NASA, so I can relate to people like Red Rhetoric. I can when Jaren will knock the fact that he's into it and say, "Oh, I've had to learn all about MECO and main engine cutoff to understand how this stuff works." It's like, well, I can relate to Red's rhetoric. I really liked all that stuff and knew what all the acronyms meant, and for about 5 seconds, it was a little bit depressing losing space, but you get over that real quick. But it doesn't mean I've forgotten all the information, and there's nothing to. There should be a bit more balance in flat Earth, and the fact that people don't understand the heliocentric model, even if they've watched 100 flat Earth videos, means that we should present the heliocentric model in its best possible light so that people can, make up their own mind and say, well, let's listen to the other arguments, if nothing else, so that they can be better educated when it comes to debating the very the very reality of our flat Earth. You've got to have some heliocentric knowledge, and a lot of people are sorely lacking in that. So I want a globehead on the show, but Red's rhetoric would just swear and shout me down, and I don't want to subject. I want family viewing.
Yeah, I agree. If you find the right one, let me know as well.
Osman seems too unbalanced. He just seems there's something. You can, maybe I'm reading too much into the crackle in his voice. Maybe he just smoked too many cigarettes that day. Who knows? But to me, he sounded scared, and that's like an animal in a corner. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah, I agree. You seem to know because you study psychopaths, you have this tendency to pick up on like the crackling in the voice and like the look in the eyes and that sort of thing, can't you? You can see I
don't think that's anything. I'm no expert on psychopaths. I mean, everything I've got is from the people on YouTube like Sam Vaknin and Thomas Sheridan. So, I'm no expert, far from it. I've had my encounters with psychopaths and, don't get me wrong, there's nothing that beats first-hand experience. But by the same token, I'm no expert. I like to think I'm just a people person. I used to be a salesman, and you've got to be able to read, how someone says something without them actually saying something. And more than anything, it's not what they say, it's how they look, it's their body language. So without, I'm not knocking people like Jaren who on the largest part don't show their face on their videos. You do get a lot more out of what someone's saying by seeing their face and seeing their, how they react. So in some ways, if nothing else, it humanizes people like Tim Osman if you can see them and see the genuine passion he has for, if it's the globe, then great. It's nice to see that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally. If you came about it a different way, then it'd be totally cool. We wouldn't be having this conversation. So what do you think is going to happen from here? What do we do? What's the next step? Do we wait for a response from Tim? Because I'd love to hear back from him, get his views on this.
Well, I mean, the purpose of this is to expose a man who is a complete bastard. He's publicizing people's address, and the hypocrisy of it is what gets my goat. It does water off a duck's back, if I'm honest. I couldn't give a shit. We said before the show, we had a good laugh about him saying that I was at a bukkake party and using my image. And it's a laugh. I found it quite funny. But I can relate to the person who's not thick-skinned and, really takes offense to that sort of stuff, and won't laugh at it. And, suddenly they're feeling like a caged animal. And, I know Patricia Steer will probably hate me for mentioning her in this conversation, but by the same token, I know she's been upset by what he's done. She's mentioned it several times on her show that he has put out her personal details, her home address, in her own live feeds when she's literally broadcasting live on YouTube, you know, which is stressful enough. To have your own address published, you know, that's just not fair, and it's hypocritical when he wants to remain anonymous. Oh, have I lost you, Amir?
Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah,
The
no.
mic was on mute. So
yeah,
the most common mistake.
Easily done.
But I was just saying, yeah, I think you're completely right. 100% agree.
How do we go forward? Well, this is one of the best debates ever. Hopefully one of the shortest, because now we've got 2 photos. Well, which one's real, mate? Turn your camera on. What's your name? What's your name, buddy? That's all we need to know. This debate is over real fast.
Yeah, totally agree.
Thanks, John LeBon.
I was jumping up and down when I saw that video, I gotta say.
Oh, mate. Yeah,
I don't think he intended for
nowhere.
that.
It's all well and good for Jeff to produce a video, but all he's got to do is say, "No, that ain't me."
Yeah.
That's the end of that.
Well, we'll just go wait and see what happens then.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully we've turned on a few more people to it, so they're more aware now, at least.
I mean, maybe just before we finish, can you break down some of the other things? Because maybe you know, I've said I'll openly say to people, don't demonize people. It's not fair to turn people into monsters. You know, to try and get this guy's goat. I've said on videos, maybe I should look into swatting or whatever they call it when they send the people around with the guns. Highly illegal. I do not encourage it. But you know, I'm just trying to taunt the guy into just showing his face, revealing who he really is, you know, by using a pretty blunt tool of one photo of some guy. As soon as you've got 2 photos, well, then it's an easily solved debate. He's just got to turn his camera on and tell us who he is, and then he's no longer a hypocrite. Yeah,
agreed. So come on, Tim.
Come on, Tim. Look, take it as a compliment, mate. Look, we're all talking about you.
Exactly.
Isn't it wonderful? You're getting free publicity from us here. God, you should be paying us.
Oh, God. The world of YouTube and the internet.
Has he had any socks of yours?
Has he what?
Socks?
Oh, yeah, there's a few. When I was doing the interview with David Weiss and Patricia last week, they actually asked me, they were like, what are these, like David was like, what are these weird comments we're getting? And we checked, and yeah, it was another stock account. What he's doing is really sly. He's creating accounts and leaving comments that are not too over the top, but still a little offensive. And that, you know, what that does is people see, and you know, that gives you a bad name, doesn't it? They think, oh, look at this guy talking rubbish. So his tactics are very sly, and I agree with you that he needs to stop and come out and show his face. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that the video that John put out, that's him. I'm pretty convinced, but I'd just like to see him close up, like a front shot, you know. I think that was a side shot. We need a front shot now, Tim. But yeah, stock accounts. I've got he's made about 4 or 5 for me. But your one was the best, Nathan. I think the Bukaki one had me laughing for a few days.
Yeah, man, I was well chuffed with the free publicity I was getting out of that. Suddenly my name's been mentioned all over. I was like, oh, mate, wicked. At least you picked a good name for me.
Yeah.
At least get them laughing, then get them clicking on me and checking. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much, Tim. Free publicity, yes, please.
Yes, please.
I'm repaying the favour right now.
Have you, by the way, opened up chat for this?
I don't know, mate. I just did it. To be honest, I didn't know whether or not we were going to broadcast at all. I just stuck it up so I could have a natter with you. And then once the conversation got a bit juicy, I thought, well, yeah, let's stick it up.
I wonder if he might be in the chat now.
He may be in the chat.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look, shall we? Why not?
As Jaren or the Morgul.
Yeah. What's the one for Morgul was quite funny, I must admit. It was something like, Morgul wants your couch money. And it's like... Again, cheeky sod. He's like on every one of Tim Osman's videos, like, yeah, send me money.
Yeah, disgusting. Hypocrite, man.
Totally. Yeah. No, I can't seem to get the chat up. I'm sure I'll end up just putting up a load of back feed or whatever you call it, a load of feedback.
Yeah, feedback.
Mate, I'm gonna have to disappear and go and get my wife. It's been a brilliant impromptu chat with you. Is there anything you want to add about Tim Osman, cognitive dissonance, or as he may be, Kyle Jones.
No, man. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to release the frustration that was building up. I feel like a kilo lighter now. So this chat helped. It's like therapy.
Definitely. Well, I will say this though, you were the inspiration for me, because when I kept seeing your comments highlighting who the socks were, that was, you know, just such a big inspiration. But you started doing the gumshoe work pretty early on. I loved
Oh
it.
yeah, I
My
remember
wife
with
and I were jumping for joy when we saw it. Oh yeah, that's who this is.
I caught Jamie a few times as well, didn't I? With his
Yeah.
new accounts. I think he stopped.
Oh, well, one more topic then, just before we do go. We'll have to nip
Mm.
off it pretty soon. People keep saying, you know, this is a shill, he's a shill, and that's another one of the John Le Bon topics. I mean, what do you think? Do you actually think? By the way, you asked me, it seemed you seem to be implying that you think this he's being paid, is actually benefiting from this. Do you think that's the case?
Um, I don't know because to me it is the time and the effort that it takes that makes me think there might be some other motive behind it. But I don't know. I don't have enough proof to say. But from what I can see, it seems like something that's been planned and put in place. Um, if not, then he's a very sad person to be doing that.
Well, definitely. If you look at the picture of the
Com
second guy, the guy pictured on the John Le Bon video,
mm,
just some toker waster, probably living in his mom's basement. You know,
yeah,
he's
with two
better to do.
shisha, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got his shisha, he's got his Google Hangouts and his PC. He's probably playing Call of Duty all day.
Yeah, and he's got his little bad boy dog, the aggressive type
Yeah,
that he
that's
always
it.
walks down the road with. Yeah, so you might be right. He probably is quite a bit of a low life.
Precisely. You know, just a
Yeah,
low life scumbag. On the other
yeah.
hand, he might be exactly as he says he is. You know, he's bought his brother a house or whatever it is he claims he's done. And if that's the case, then wonderful. All you need to do is put your name to your face, and we can all check that and verify it, and come to your home address when you publish that.
I love it. Yeah,
Anyway, mate, I'm going to sign off, mate. Thank you very
wicked man.
much.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
Have a good
Take it
night, man.
easy.
Take care.
And if you are in chat, thank you very much for being on this very impromptu chat. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next one.